Okay, thank you very much, Adil. I want to now move on to our next speaker, and I'd love to welcome James Luxbacher, the Managing Director of 6KSA. He has over 18 years' experience in mobility operations. He's spearheaded innovations in smart mobility across North America and now in the Middle East. And he's going to be discussing with us today innovations in smart mobility within the kingdom, showcasing his expertise and his brand's expertise in driving cutting-edge mobility solutions and strategic partnerships in Saudi Arabia. So let's give him a nice warm welcome. James, come up.
All right, I'm going to let you guys down after that introduction for sure. There's been a lot of great content from everybody who's gone, and there'll be a ton of overlap, I think, with what you've heard from the previous speakers. So, when I got asked to present about smart mobility, we do brand ourselves as, Sixt is not just a rental car company, we are a mobility company, and we're involved in many different aspects, particularly in the kingdom within mobility. So we do leasing, we do chauffeur, we do shared mobility, we do rental, and rental in essence is shared mobility, right? We do ride hailing. So we are involved in basically, even to commercial vehicles, all the aspects of mobility, except for government mobility. So I looked up, I tried to find the definition of smart mobility to share it with you guys. And I think there is no single definition of what smart mobility is. And smart mobility covers a huge area of the mobility industry. And there's very many stakeholders. There's a ton of stakeholders within smart mobility. So what I after some massaging of different definitions, what I've come is it's improving transportation efficiency, sustainability, and convenience. And this is done through the use of IoT, the Internet of Things. So we're connecting everything. I think even I've read that tires themselves are starting to become a connected aspect of your vehicle. Multimodal transportation, so this is the bridging between maybe the public busing to passenger vehicles to micromobility, maybe even a ferry, a ship, and then using the data of how people move across the mobility ecosystem to drive data-driven decision making. Again, the connected infrastructure is not just the IoT aspect, but also street lights, the traffic signals, the repair shops, and the car itself. The electrification or hydrogen is just another form of electrification of our fleet. A more user-centric platform. So how do we make it easy for someone to use mobility in the kingdom? So if you want to get from the airport today to here, what's the best route to do that? What's the lowest carbon emitting route or possible way to get here? And that application doesn't exist today, that user-centric platform, because there are so many stakeholders. And then also government policy feeds in substantially into smart mobility. So why is smart mobility important? So when we think about the need for smart mobility in the kingdom, or even globally, you think about the population of our urban centers. So today, the majority of the population lives within a city, and that is going to increase substantially as we move towards 2050. So the forecast right now is that 70% of the global population will live in cities, which will further, if you drive across Riyadh today, it's really difficult. So think about when Riyadh has increased its population, has doubled its population by 2030. And at the same time, the pandemic and the rise of ride-hailing has substantially changed the traffic on the roads. So if we think about Amazon You think about e-commerce and the delivery to your house. Previously, maybe somebody went to the store one time a month or a week, picked up all their stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I have packages coming maybe on a daily basis. Do I need them coming daily? No. But I have something coming from Amazon every day. Um, so this change is creating significant pressure on the mobility ecosystem. And then cities are becoming, not only people are moving into cities, but the reason they're moving in is they're a substantial driver of our global domestic product. And they're a huge emitter of greenhouse gases. So the pollution is occurring now within our cities. And that is also where the people are moving and living. So we need to look at the emissions aspect of transportation, which is 25% of the greenhouse emissions. And this is going to continue to increase as urban transportation doubles by 2050. So what are the expected benefits from the outcomes from smart mobility? So I think it's important to, we don't do things and shift the industry towards smart mobility just to be smart. There's a reason it's smart, and here it's increased efficiency. So there's some maybe counterintuitive things about mobility. So you think efficiency improves if we have autonomous vehicles. Well, it actually doesn't, right? So there's more traffic involved with autonomous vehicles because when you drive your car today to work, you park it, and then you drive it home. Well, if you take an autonomous vehicle that drives you to work, then it drives back and picks up someone else and drives them to work. So there's going to be passengerless vehicles making traffic. And this change is not particularly efficient for the road system. So how do we continue to increase efficiency by maybe more public transport, using vans, buses, and grouping passengers? There's a huge safety aspect as well with smart mobility. So as you start to connect, you have predictive maintenance. You have less likelihood of catastrophic breakdowns with your vehicles. And then you also have a more robust ecosystem for transporting passengers in a safe way. The accessibility is not just for people with disabilities or determinations. So this is an opportunity for us to democratize mobility. So as a premium car provider, we also have to focus on making it affordable and making options that make transportation, and especially sustainable transportation, green transportation, available to people who have lower ability to spend, lower incomes. So how do I make EVs available for the general population and not just for wealthy people? And that right now we're in an early adopter phase where, Lucid's the first EV. It's expensive. It's not accessible. So how do we make this more accessible to the general population? And sustainability, obviously a core component. We have to move the emissions outside of our city and reduce the emissions and save money while we do it. That's important for every for-profit business. And then benefiting the quality of life within the cities that we live. We have I spoke previously about the GDP growth and the cities being the primary driver of GDP growth. This is also an important opportunity for us, especially in the region, to innovate as we redesign cities and as we build new cities like Neom and build new tourist destinations like the Red Sea, to be able to really drive economic growth around innovation of smart mobility. And then resilience within the system. So, I flew in today. I live in Riyadh, but I flew back into Riyadh, and there was rain, right? And I was coming just from the UAE. There was rain. My flight was delayed. It took a little bit to get here. The system, a rainstorm, and everybody sees it's not raining very hard, but the system's not really resilient because there's not other options. So if there's high-speed trains and when it rains, if there's other forms of transportation, you have more resilience in the system. So this is something that's near and dear to me. So we are one of the largest owners of electric vehicles in the kingdom today. So we've deployed over 200 electric vehicles within Saudi Arabia. We have electric vehicles at many of the Giga projects, almost all of them. And then we also have, today you can rent an electric vehicle from my company and drive it. So you could be driving an electric vehicle right now if you want. I put some pictures up here of 2 hydrogen vehicles up that are deployed at Red Sea. NEOM also has hydrogen passenger vehicles deployed. And then there's hydrogen passenger vehicles being tested as well by Air Products and Aramco. Lucid, we've heard a lot about Lucid and Sears, so I'm not going to touch on them, but we own quite a few Lucids as well. It's a phenomenal vehicle. But it's the affordability gap. So how can we make this a product like Sear more affordable and accessible to the general population? And then the part of it's like the chicken and egg, right? We have the EVs, but do we have the infrastructure? And I think everybody's aware of EVIC, which is the PIF-backed charging company that also is partnered with the Saudi Electric Company. So EVIC has installed their first DC chargers at Roshan Front. If you haven't checked them out, they're incredible, and they've been reliable and they've been up. At the same time, I think Electramine was here earlier, and Electramine has installed some DC chargers and AC chargers across the kingdom. And we as an organization have also installed chargers within our own operations at our fleet hubs to be able to charge our fleet. There's still a lot more compared to the UAE. I think on the previous slide you saw basically the UAE accounts for all DC and AC chargers in the MENA region, and we need to see more rapid growth of DC charging within the kingdom. And then this is the and I've used this hydrogen fueling station. This is the only one I know of right now at Air Products Qudra in Tehran. And you can go there and put hydrogen into your vehicle. All right, and then the future of mobility, right, is autonomous and connected, or are key parts of that. Has anybody here driven in an autonomous vehicle? We got one. Anybody else? No? Or passenger? I guess you're not really driving. Has anybody passenger? So I've been in a few. There's good ones and there's bad ones. Most of them drive like my grandmother drives, a little on the slow side. And I'm not sure how they would do here in Riyadh, but there's been a huge investment within the kingdom into autonomous mobility. So NEOM has made a financial investment in partnership with Pony AI to deploy autonomous vehicles at NEOM. Red Sea Global is currently testing Easy Mile, which is an autonomous vehicle company. And then also Aula has WeRide, and these are actually little autonomous pods for passengers that go back and forth. We don't have robo-taxis yet, but they'll be coming, I'm sure, once we straighten out some of the roads. Then the connected vehicles. So this is taking data from basically making the vehicle fully accessible and connected to the internet. And you have your traditional shared mobility models like eCar and UDrive, iDrive. We have a shared mobility platform as well where you can lock and unlock, take the vehicle with your phone app. But there's also other platforms where we're using the IoT to create more intelligent solutions. So you think about Amazon, we provide the fleet for Amazon within the kingdom, and we can take sensors on the vehicle and take the load within the vehicle. So how much gross weight is in the vehicle, and watch as that weight leaves the vehicle throughout the day. So is the person consistently delivering packages throughout the day, and we see the loads matching, the unloading of the vehicle matching with the delivery data or not? And do we see people overloading and creating unsafe situations? We've mapped roads to set the speed limits, so we can also say, is the driver making harsh turns? Is the driver overspeeding? And using this data to create it lowers our costs in maintenance, it lowers our costs in insurance, so you have substantially less accidents when your drivers know they're being monitored, and then it creates a safer environment for the population. And then this is more on the IoT and the shared mobility. So I just spoke about all of these, so I'm going to jump over some of this. But a big part of this is we're having to put devices into these vehicles. So traditional OEMs, this is your GM and your Fords, have long thought about when they sell vehicles, they're selling it to a consumer. And thinking about selling vehicles into the fleet space is kind of an afterthought. And we're starting to see Stellantis and some of the larger companies pivot, where they're saying, you know what, actually fleet operators who purchase, maybe 40% of the vehicles in the world need access to the data of the vehicle without having to come in after the fact and add a device. So we're starting to see that these APIs to access the vehicle data are being made available to us, such as Tesla is making available the real-time data from the vehicle so that we can then integrate the vehicle into our own applications. And this is extremely important when you think about smart mobility, because if people don't want to play together or share data, share resources to make the consumer's interaction with mobility better, it's not going to work. So the government needs to share, infrastructure data. So whether it's smart signal data, and at the same time the OEM needs to share the data from the vehicle, and then we also need to share the data between the customers. So I'm showing you an example of something we've worked on. So this is a corporate, and I think one of the biggest areas of opportunity for us as an organization or as a society is really looking at the one-for-one car matching within a corporate space. So we've launched corporate car sharing platforms where employees in a more than 5 to 1. So actually we have in one instance we have 1,000 plus people using 200 vehicles, less than 200 vehicles. So this 10 to 1 transition of buying each individual vehicle in your corporate environment to buying one vehicle that's shared between 10 or more people, and allocating time or fake money to that person to be able to use these vehicles allows you to buy nicer vehicles and allows you to lower your overall capex. So this is actually a real picture from our platform. This is a Rivian, which is an electric pickup truck that is online within our system that you can unlock and lock and take this vehicle. We get charging data, we get driving data, we get basically this vehicle right now you can see is plugged in, it's charging, has 68% battery, and the 51 kilometers is a typo. I think there's something wrong there, but I'll have to check that out. But you basically have full accessibility access to the vehicle. We can see if the windows are down. We can see if the trunk's open, the boot's open, and we make the mobility safer and we make it cheaper. So also a part of smart mobility is the interaction with the municipalities and the public infrastructure. So I've mentioned it a few times, but we're seeing, especially within the kingdom, that smart city activity is happening. There's some investments around smart cities, which is about making the city give feedback to the vehicles, to the passenger. And then we have, inshallah, the Riyadh Metro will activate soon, and this will help take off additional pressure from our streets. And then I think everybody's seen the busing has launched in Riyadh. It's hopefully going to continue to grow, and I think as government regulations that go into place, such as paid parking or toll roads, you can drive consumer behavior to start to use the public mobility. Did I have a blank slide here? Maybe? Is it just not displaying? 2 minutes? Oh, okay. I'll okay. So the I mentioned the Giga projects. The NEOM is heavily involved in making a smart city that, and it's hard to define, but they're making a city that works for the consumer. So they have a very consumer-centric plan to deploy a city that you have maybe your phone, your app, the city knows you and it responds to you. And it creates an environment where mobility is very easy to use and it's multimodal. So this is one of, I think, the biggest projects that will see a great showcase of smart mobility. Red Sea Global, I think everybody's seen the commitment from Red Sea Global towards especially new energy products and ecotourism. And this is another instance where you arrive and your seamless journey to your hotel will be done in a sustainable, smart way. Durea and Alula, similar projects going on. And then a little bit of a change here, but this is our contribution. So I've commented on all these. I'm running out of time, but we are committed to the future of mobility within the kingdom, and we're working hard to educate the population and support jobs in new energy. So we're doing everything we can. It's hard right now especially with EVs as the infrastructure comes on, but I'll open it up to questions. Go ahead. All right, thank you.